Hello, my wonderful friends. Sally the Seeker here. My voice still sounds a bit squeaky, but I really do feel well. And I appreciate you all so much in the last video. All of you all wishing me well. And again, I still don't know if it's allergies or something else, but I'm just continuing to hydrate, drink hot tea, and live my life and roast Darrell and spend time with you wonderful people. So again, excuse the it has always taken me a long time for my voice to get right, so it'll probably be this way for a while, but we'll go through it. But I truly appreciate you all hanging in there with me. So I decided today to focus on the band, because I didn't really watch all of it, but once I started researching more, there were a lot of band members impacted by this and injured. Same thing, I guess, kind of. But it was amazing that no one was killed. That doesn't mean that they have not suffered, serious injuries. And of course, probably lifelong PTSD. But this resonates with me, and maybe it resonates with a lot of you all. Because way back in the day, I was in the band, and we did a lot of parades. Of course, we marched in football games, but we got to travel a lot of places. It was, it was fun being in band in high school. We went to New Orleans, Miami, Washington, D.C., so we marched in a lot of parades, and I can't even begin to fathom. And then I'm thinking back also in my own little hometown, which is probably much like Waukesha, marching in a Christmas parade there where people were throwing candy. You have the floats, all that kind of stuff. Of course, we had the homecoming parades. And it was just really a great time. But I would have never imagined, as I'm sure they didn't, this red monster plowing through them. But I'm thinking about when I was in band. Number one, excuse me, to be a band director, it's a lot of work. You have to keep up with, in high school, when I went, which dates me a little bit, high school was 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Now it's 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. So that's a whole other grade to keep track of. And I can remember like the summers in Florida. Well, sometimes October in Florida is a bit rough. But going out there in the summertime, of course, I was much younger, so I could deal with it. But we would, get out there in the mornings and practice our formations and, staying in a straight line. It is not an easy thing, let me tell you. And band directors, just from my typical observation, are generally highly, highly intelligent. I think you'd have to be to keep track of that many people. And I remember the band director I had was, oh my goodness, I think he graduated from college when he was like 16. So when I was in band, he was only like 6 years older than my friends and myself. And one thing that they all possess, of course, being in music, a musician, is they have supersonic hearing. So that's one thing to just keep in mind. And also, if you were in band, or I'm suspecting maybe a lot of you all were or are currently parents to somebody who participates in the band. So I'm sure it resonates a lot with you all as well. So before she even gets on the stand, I appreciate what you have to keep track of. And it's a lot. It really is. the formation. You're keeping an eye on all your students. You've got to have it together to do this kind of stuff. So getting ready to testify is, I'm trying not to butcher her name. I think it's, I know Sarah Wehmeier Aparicio. Hopefully I got that right. So let's proceed.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names and spell each for the record.
All right, my first name is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. My last names are Wehmeier, W-E-H-M-E-I-E-R.
That was close. Wehmeier.
And Aparicio, A-P-A-R-I-C-I-O.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ma'am, can you tell us where you work?
I work for the school district of Waukesha.
What was your job title during the 2021-2022 academic year?
I was the director of bands at Waukesha South High School.
What kind of things do you do as the band director at South?
Organize all sorts of events, whether it's concerts or marching band performing in parades.
How long did you hold that position?
I held the position on and off over the years for 10 years.
As the band director at Waukesha South, how frequently did you interact with the kids who were members of the band?
On a daily basis.
Okay. And did you know the name of all the kids that were in your marching band during that school year?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Did the band march in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, we did.
Were you there with them?
Yes, I was.
Had you done that in the past?
Yes, I had.
About how many times?
Every year that I was there, we did that parade as well as Memorial Day.
Would you describe it as an event that the kids look forward to?
Absolutely.
When the band marches, are they in formation?
They are.
What about uniforms? Do they have any?
We do have uniforms, yes.
Okay. When you march in formation, is this something that you practice with the band?
We do. We practice with the students that are in the marching band portion of the parade. We had also done another parade in the Dells that year, so we had practiced with that. For the students that are not in marching band, we had practiced during class time for several weeks leading up to it.
How does the formation of the marching band get set up?
So we practice during class, and then we kind of have the general structure of what it will look like, and then student leaders within the section place the students in their places the day of the parade.
So they have a little leeway, but you don't want bass drums marching next to clarinets?
Correct, exactly. So we say these two rows will be flutes, so senior leaders help decide which flutes are in those located, or those specified places.
I wonder if Zach was in band.
I'm going to ask that we project Exhibit 21 onto the screen for the witness and the defendant.
Permission granted.
Just let me know when you see a picture in front of you.
Okay. It is here, yep.
Okay, what are we looking at with Exhibit 21? Can you tell us what this is?
So this is an aerial view of our marching band. You can see the names of the students that are identified. Those were all students that were physically impacted by the car that day.
November 21st of 2021?
Correct.
The Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Correct.
Have you reviewed this photograph and the information contained in it before your testimony today?
Yes, I have.
Does it accurately represent the formation of the kids in your band on that day?
It does, yes.
I move Exhibit 21 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position?
The object.
Exhibit 21 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
And can we zoom in on that a little bit? There we go. Can you walk us through from left to right, just identifying, I know that we can all read, but just for the record, can you read those names for us and then also tell us what instrument each of those kids is playing?
All right, so first we have Aiden Lofgren on bass drum, Connor Tank on crash cymbals, Justin Gullickson on sousaphone, Eric Teagues, trombone, Tyler Pudliner on tenor sax, still on the exterior, Harry Guilfoyle on trumpet, then Eleanor Anders on mellophone, Theo Mazza on trumpet, Marit Gilchrist on alto sax, and Sasha Catalan on clarinet.
What's a mellophone?
A mellophone is a marching version of a French horn.
What about a sousaphone?
A marching version of a tuba.
Have you ever seen the Ohio State Marching Band perform?
I have, yes.
I'll withdraw the question.
Could
So-
be the Badgers.
There are 10 members of your band identified in this photograph, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Could we please project for the witness only Exhibit 15? Do you see something on your screen in front of you?
There's a map on the screen.
Are you familiar with downtown Waukesha?
I am, yes.
Okay. Do you recognize what we're looking at in this map?
I do, yes.
Exhibit 15 was previously received and published. I'd ask to publish again.
Permission granted.
Could we zoom in, Ms. Gussie, on the intersection? There we go. Yep. All right. Do you see a yellow star between Barstow and Gasper Streets on Main Street?
Yes.
I want to apologize to y'all. Sometimes this, just pausing for a moment, I don't know if it's the light or it's the video, but sometimes it does this little jumpy thing, and I know that it's difficult to watch, especially if you're prone to seizures or a migraine sufferer or just a regular person. But I'm not sure. Sometimes it just turns out this way. Hopefully it will work itself out.
And you see the line connecting that yellow star to a box with some green background and some names
I do.
under the banner of Waukesha South Band?
Correct, yes.
Take a moment, take as much time as you need, read through those names in that list. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Are the names on that list identical to the names that you previously told us about in Exhibit 21, that photograph of the aerial view?
Yes.
Overruled. She may answer. I believe she did answer, and her answer may stand. Did the jury all hear that?
So 10 people
Can you tell us
were injured.
what happened while your band was marching between Barstow and approaching Gasper Street on Main Street on November 21st of 2021?
So I was towards the front of the band. That tends to be where I typically am because if you can imagine a typical parade, there's a lot of stopping and starting as the band is going through the streets. And so I am in connection with our drum majors. Those are the student leaders who have the whistles that give the students the command when they should be forward marching and when we should be marching in place. So I'm helping look ahead to see what's coming down the road while the students are busy playing their instruments. The streets had just narrowed as we got into that point, and there was a lot of enthusiasm in the crowd, and I could feel the energy from the students. And all of a sudden I heard something going on, so I turned around, and at first I thought there was an emergency vehicle or something. I could tell there was some sort of a vehicle trying to get through. And then I started just seeing things flying in the air, and I realized this was not a vehicle waiting for people to move out of the way. I realized this vehicle was running over people. The students around me, we all kind of dispersed at the same time. I thought in the initial moments that it was an accident, but then as I turned and the car went immediately past me, and I could see that the driver was staring straight ahead and knew that, could have clearly seen that they were running over people.
How many times have we heard that? Staring straight ahead. Well, she didn't say anything about his hands, gripping the steering wheel, but staring straight ahead, very focused on what he was doing. I believe we've heard that many times from witnesses. I still can't get over it.
What happened next?
My first impact was to run after the car for a moment And then I realized, because I watched them run over the people in front of me as well. And then I turned around and I saw my students all laying on the street and screaming. A police officer immediately, what felt like at the time, immediately came running, shots fired. And so my students who weren't injured were all dispersed. And I was trying to, at the same time, watch over my students in the street, but keep an eye on where the other students who were going so that I could make sure they were all safe as well. But I stayed in the streets so that we didn't know where the shots fired were coming from, so I wanted to make sure that those students in the street were safe as well.
And just to clarify, you mentioned that you heard from a police officer that shots had been fired?
Correct.
You yourself, with the trained ear of a band director, didn't hear any gunshots?
I did not hear gunshots, no.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we project on the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 24, please.
Permission granted.
And can we make sure we're playing this at normal speed? And we're going to turn the volume off while we identify, so we'll leave it off there. I'm just going to play a few seconds without any volume, and then I'll stop and I'll ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we've stopped at about 5 seconds into the video. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, that is our band performing.
And I'm not sure how familiar you are with downtown, but do you know the businesses that your band is in front of right now?
We're by Davino Gelato and Martha Merrill's.
Okay.
And then the Alo Chocolate and everything is on the other side, as well as an apartment building.
Okay. Have you reviewed this video before your testimony today?
Yes, I have.
Does it accurately depict what happened to your band the
Yes, it
afternoon of the
does.
parade? Move exhibit 24 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position, Mr. Brooks?
Objection. If the witness has seen this video before, how would that corroborate with the testimony?
Well, I'm not an expert on this, but perhaps it would be helpful to the jury. But that's just me.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 24 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
We are going to play this entirely through. It's 30 seconds long. We're going to play it once with the audio at normal speed. Go ahead.
This isn't going to be good.
Do you think you'd be happier as a boy?
Oh my gosh. That sounds awful. I'm sorry, I know I'm breaking through and I've said this before, it gets me how he can just sit there and stare at it. It's almost like somebody, like an artist, admiring his handiwork. But he can look at it. No tears, dry eyes, just unbelievable. Okay.
All right, let's pull it up again and set the speed to 50%. And turn the audio off. And we're going to play to a certain point, and then I'll say pause, and then I'll ask you some questions when we pause, okay?
Objection. What is the relevancy of playing it at slower speed?
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Permission granted.
Go ahead and play.
No, they don't have to answer all your questions, or any of them for that matter.
Pause. We've paused at 11 seconds. from viewing the video up to this 11-second point, can you tell us who in your band was struck by that SUV so far?
So far, that would have been Aiden, Connor, Justin, Eric, and Tyler, I believe at that point, perhaps also Harry.
And let's resume at the 11-second mark, please.
It's so, like, chilling how he just stares at it.
Pause. We paused at 16 seconds. Would it be fair to say that the remaining students we've been talking about today were struck after that point?
Correct.
And now we've reached a point where the SUV is completely past all of your band members?
Correct.
I'm going to ask that we project for the witness only exhibit number 23. We're just going to play a few seconds at normal speed here without any audio. Pause. We're 5 seconds in. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, I do.
Did you see yourself in the video?
I did.
Does this video depict the same marching band in the same area of Main Street on November 21st?
It does.
I'd move exhibit 23 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position, Mr. Brooks?
Objection.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 23 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
We'll play this once through at normal speed with audio, please.
Okay. Oh my gosh. That is so... At first I thought they had been hit, but maybe not.
At
It's
the
going to be
tail
so
end of
hard
that
for her to
video, we
watch.
saw a red SUV. Is that the SUV you've been talking about during your testimony?
That is, yes.
And can we go back to the beginning of that video? We'll turn the audio off. And we'll just play a few seconds here from the beginning. Pause. We are 2 seconds in. Do you see yourself on the screen?
I do.
So that's a touch screen in front of you. Would you mind drawing a circle around yourself? All right. So you are directly above the black shirt band banner.
Correct.
All right. Then we can clear that. All right. We did it right. Thank you. I'd ask that we put up for the witness only exhibit number 22, please. Wait a few seconds without any audio for the witness only. Pause. And we've stopped at 7 seconds. Do you recognize that video?
I do.
What does this video show?
This video also shows the car coming through as well, and different angle in terms of some of the students dispersing as well, some of them getting struck by the car.
Is this video also an accurate representation of what happened that day?
Yes, it is.
Move exhibit 22 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any, Mr. Brooks, any
Objection.
position?
Objection.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
Mhm.
Exhibit 22 is received.
I guess I still have to ask him.
We're going to play this in its entirety. It's 32 seconds long with the audio.
Oh boy. It's got to be hard for her to watch it over and over. Ugh. So powerful. Poor thing.
Did you see yourself in that video?
I did.
Let's go back to the beginning, please, and set the play at 50% speed.
Excuse me, guys. So sorry.
We'll turn the audio off this time. And we'll play from the beginning. Let's pause. We've paused at 9 seconds. Can you use the screen in front of you and circle yourself if you see yourself? Can we clear that, please?
Wow, look at that. Looks like she's maybe
We'll
running
resume
there.
at the 9-second mark.
Oh my goodness.
Pause.
I can't stand looking at him looking
Paused
at
at
that.
21 seconds.
Ugh.
You testified earlier that you initially ran towards the vehicle as it was driving away, is that right?
Correct.
Do we see you do that in this portion of the video?
Yes.
If you see yourself, can you circle yourself on the screen? So you're in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I just want to say, and how many times have we heard of other people, whether they were police officers or just spectators or whomever, you know, just chasing after the vehicle. I guess at the time that's just an instinct. I mean, how would you ever catch up with it? But maybe you think that you would. Who knows what you're thinking, but that's just interesting also to note that several people had that same instinct to try to run after it, and man.
Thank you. We can take that down.
Checking the clock.
Did you see that red SUV stop at any point?
No.
As you were in real time remembering the events of that day, do you recall seeing any of your students getting hit?
I did not see any of my students get hit, only of the group in front of me. I just saw, like I said, things flying because they were in the formation and it came through the middle.
In the immediate aftermath, after the vehicle had gone through and after you had run after it briefly, did you have any personal interaction with any of your students who had been hit?
I did. There were several on the ground, and they were surrounded by other bystanders who stepped in. So I just basically was circulating on the ground between the students who were injured, and then the students had run away to several shops in the area. And so I was just, it probably was an hour, it felt like. I don't really know how much time it was exactly, but rotating between the students who were injured as we were waiting for first responders, as well as checking on the students and trying to at least keep the kids who were not injured in a space where we knew where they were, so we could safely get them home once all of our injured students had been picked up by first responders.
Do you know whether any of those students that you had personal interaction with had to be transported to the hospital?
There were several students that had to be taken to the hospital.
Do you know in general the nature of some of those injuries?
There was many broken bones, a lot of, there was internal bleeding, dental work that needed to be done, lots of stitches, cuts, abrasions, sprains, torn ligaments.
Did you remain in your capacity as the Waukesha South marching band director for the remainder of that academic year?
I did.
You eventually went back to school after that Sunday, the 21st, is that right?
That is correct. So we went back to school once we were assured that we had as many students that were still left in the area back to get them on the bus back to school.
You're talking about that night, Sunday
That
the
evening,
21st?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And in the days that followed, kids
Yes.
came back to school.
They did, yes.
And you had personal interaction with the members of your marching band?
Yes, I did.
Your objection's noted, it's overruled.
What the hell's he
Can
objecting
we
for?
please put Exhibit 21 back up on the screen?
She's pretty strong. I mean,
This
she's
has
keeping it
previously been
together.
admitted. It's the diagram. I'd ask that we put it up for the jury as well.
Go ahead.
Based on your own observations that day, your interaction with the students in the immediate aftermath, and your review of the video evidence here today in court, how many of those 10 members of your marching band were either struck or run over by the red SUV?
They all were.
Can you tell us whether or not you got a good look at the driver that day?
I did from the profile.
Approximately how many feet would you estimate you were from the driver at his closest?
Probably 2 feet.
Ooh,
You were
that's
still in
close.
the street at that point?
Correct.
Oh, he looks
And
like
the
he's.
SUV was too?
Yes.
Look at his face.
We saw in the video what the lighting conditions were, but could you describe from your own memory what the lighting was like that day?
Overruled, you may answer.
The lights were beginning, the sun was beginning to set. However, we were in an area where we were by lots of stores, so the sun was still out as well as the light coming from all
Excuse
the
me again,
storefronts.
guys. Sorry.
Could we project on the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 120? Do you see an image on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Is that image an accurate representation of what the driver of the SUV looked like that day when you saw him?
Completely, yes.
I'd move exhibit 120 into evidence and ask to publish.
120 is received. Permission to publish is granted. May have been received earlier.
It's already finished.
No, yeah, whatever. Yep, there he is. He is staring straight ahead. He has his gray hoodie on. Before he tried to change his appearance and have a red t-shirt and no shoes. That is clearly him. He could have saved them so much time with a trial if he just pleaded guilty.
I believe you testified a little bit earlier about the driver's demeanor as you observed him. Could you go into more detail about that?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
It's not hearsay. It's her.
So originally my perception just had been that I assumed there was an accident because I could not imagine anything else. But when the car went past me, my perception changed of what was happening completely because the driver was looking straight ahead, looked very attentive at that point. So the driver clearly was aware that he had hit and run over all of these people. It was not something that could have happened without the driver's awareness. We were also coming up on an intersection of a cross street. And although there was a crowd on the side, again, this is just my perception, but if the driver had been trying to escape the parade route so they were no longer hitting people, I felt like an instinct would have caused the head to turn to see if there was a way out on that side street. But the driver's head never turned looking for a way out of the parade route at that moment. And that's what caused my perception of what was going on that day to change.
When you say side street, you're referring to the street that runs in front of the Martha Merrill bookstore?
Correct.
Jasper Street?
Jasper Street.
It's a great witness.
And again, just to clarify, when we look at exhibit number 120 here, the person in white, is that a member of your band?
Yes, that is. That is one of the student conductors.
And then the
So
person in the
close.
foreground on the right with the blurry face, is that another? I don't know if you know who it is, but can you tell us if that's a member of your band?
That is a member of our band, yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for this witness. Thank you.
Oh, this should be
We're just
good.
going to take a break before we do cross-exam. We'll take our afternoon break for about 15 minutes. All rise for the jury, please.
We know this is going to be good, don't we? Oh, boy. Any predictions of what he's going to ask? His brow's really furrowed that she was 2 feet close to him, but I mean, why wouldn't she be if he hit all those people?
We'll see. Teresa, you wanna update my exhibit? You have that.
I've been copying them going, so I just turn you to.
Whatever's easiest to do, otherwise you can just make some notations. You can come on back up. All right, we are back on the record. Appearances are as they were before. We'll bring the jury out for cross. Go ahead.
Whereas, Your Honor, can you address the subject matter jurisdiction, please?
No, not right now.
Hell no.
Is that a judicial determination, Your Honor?
I'm glad she ignored him.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions for this witness? Go ahead.
Of course he does. You had asked a broom a question.
On the night evening of November 21st, 2021, do you recall what officer conducted your interview?
I do not recall.
Can you recall if it was a detective or just a regular officer?
I do not recall.
You mentioned earlier in testimony that that there was a side street where there could have been an exit out of the parade route
Correct.
provided. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes.
Do you recall if that side street was barricaded in any way?
I do not recall.
Do you recall if there was another side street on the opposite side of the street?
The other side of the street has a plaza, so there's an open space, but it's not a traffic, for car traffic street.
Do you recall what that street would be used for if not for traffic?
It's an open space where people who have been on the shops on Main Street can go down to the Riverwalk.
Do you know if cars can park there?
They may not.
So it's basically like just a walkway.
Correct.
From what you recall, can you estimate the speed of the vehicle that you saw that day?
I'm not good at estimating speeds, but it felt fast as it went past me. It felt like it was accelerating.
And you stated you was relatively close to the vehicle when it passed you.
Yes, I was.
Were you injured in any way?
I was not. Fortunately, I moved just in time.
Do you recall if anybody that may have been directly next to you was injured in any way?
They were not.
So would it be fair to say that everyone in your immediate area was not struck?
Depends on how you want to define immediate, but the first 4 rows of the band, no one was struck because at that point everyone had run away.
I was referring to, I guess I wasn't clear enough on immediate. I was referring to directly next to you.
Directly next to me, no.
Were you able to get a license plate number of the vehicle?
I was not.
She saw you.
Did you notice any tinted windows to the vehicle?
It's 11 months ago, but I believe there were in the back, but I don't want to say yes or no for sure on that.
Did you see anyone else in the vehicle?
I did not.
Could you see the back seats of the vehicle?
I did not look at the back seats.
Could you see the passenger seat of the vehicle?
I could.
Do you recall anyone being in the passenger
I
seat?
did not see anyone in the passenger seat.
Did you initially hear any sounds before you realized that something was wrong?
The band had just started playing, and so I was concentrating on listening to the sounds of the band, and then all of a sudden it was just the sound of chaos as the car came through the band.
So it would be fair to say that it was pretty loud.
Where I was at that moment, yes, because I was directly in the middle of the band.
Would you say extremely loud or moderately loud?
God.
I would say moderately loud, and as the band director, my job was listening to the sound of the band, and so I could give the students feedback when we got back to school. So that's where my focus was.
From your estimation, do you think it would have, the sounds from the band and the people and just the parade itself, would that at any time impaired you from hearing everything that was going on?
Everything, likely, but for example, like it would have still been, it wasn't so loud I would have heard a car horn. That I would have been able
Oh
to hear.
boy, he's gonna
I
jump on
wasn't
that one.
referring to that.
Okay, I was just asking because you were asking volumes, and so I couldn't have heard everything. I couldn't have heard something soft, but something that loud as an example.
He's probably gonna jump on that one. But did you hear a horn?
So, just to be clear, from your opinion, you think you would have been able to hear a horn?
I believe I would have.
Even at the same time listening for the band notes, as you say?
Yes,
you
hell
had to
yes.
feedback when you got back to
Mhm.
school.
Because that would have been an unexpected sound, so that would have been something that would have stood out in my
It would have
memory.
been something that draws your attention.
Exactly.
Yes, Darrell.
So in your opinion, do you estimate it would have been hard to hear any screaming or anything of that nature?
We started, as soon as the screaming started, we did hear that immediately. Because as soon as the screaming started, the students stopped playing, and so that loudness.
1 second.
I'm sorry.
Going too fast for you, huh, Brooks?
Do you recall how long you had been actively participating in the parade at the time of the incident?
That had been my first year back as the director of band for a while, but I marched in that parade in high school myself. I've attended on the years that I was not teaching, so it's probably my 40th time plus at that parade.
I think you probably misunderstood.
Okay.
Well, that's still. I don't have to ask that question.
Yeah.
I was referring to how long you had been marching at
That time.
At that point in.
Probably blocks all change size pretty quickly in Waukesha, but we had been going for about 4 blocks. We were about at the halfway point of the parade route.
Did you notice anything amiss up until that point?
Up until that point, no.
Did you hear any law enforcement radios that may have alerted you to
No.
something being wrong?
No.
So it'd be fair to say, as far as you know, everything was pretty much standard.
Up until the moment, yes.
You're wasting your time. She's identified you. She's given a good
You
description.
stated in your report that you were walking backwards facing the students.
No, I was walking forward because the students near me were walking backwards. So I was the eyes in front for the students who were marching backwards.
So is it possible the report could have misquoted what you said?
I have not seen the report.
The report that I have would be page 2.
I don't have that in front of me.
Would you like to see it?
Sure.
Good Lord, here we go. It doesn't really matter at this point if she's backwards or frontwards. I guess, again, he's trying to attack their credibility. But that's so ridiculous because it's a year ago at that time. People were traumatized.
So I see it's not in. There we go. So I was facing forward, and then as soon as I heard sounds, I turned around and started facing backwards at that time to see what was happening. So my direction of movement until the incident started was forward, and then once I heard unexpected sounds coming from the back of the band, then I turned around.
Do you recall the statement that's in the report, though? She stated that she was walking backwards facing the
Oh,
students.
God.
Do you recall that?
I do not. I guess I recall, yes, I must have. I don't recall this exact moment. I've spoken to lots of officers.
And it's probably, again, a summary.
Do you recall thinking that the SUV was driving right at you?
It felt like it for a moment, yes.
And you stated that you initially started to chase after the vehicle, was briefly, but then stopped.
That was my instinct at the moment because I don't know why. That was my instinct at the moment.
Because you ran over her babies.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No problem. Take it down.
You got nothing. Let her go.
Would it be fair to say that the unexpectedness of the event may have clouded everything that you recall about the event?
I think there's certain aspects of the event that I have great clarity for because it was such a life-changing thing. There are certain moments that are very clear in my memory. Then there's other aspects that maybe other people noticed that maybe 11 months later that are less clear because some of the other more graphic details are so strong in my memory.
It would be fair to say though that, or would it be rather, I'm sorry about that, would it be fair to say that you don't recall everything from that November 21st
It was
evening?
that would be accurate.
But she recalled you. That's enough.
To your recollection, would you have left out any details in your report?
Well,
No.
how could she know? Keep digging.
Were you able to see any license plate number on the vehicle?
I think you already asked her that. Asked and answered, I believe.
Do you recall about how far you initially had the reaction to chase after the vehicle, but then turn back to your students?
It was just a few steps.
Do you recall exactly where you were at
I was
in the parade?
in terms of the order of the parade.
And in terms of what intersections you may have been at?
I was personally right outside of Martha Merrill's bookstore.
From the video footage, there were clearly a lot of spectators or people that weren't actively involved in the parade.
Yes.
Did you at any time see any of the spectators struck?
I did not.
Okay. You know what gets me about that? He's always trying to focus on who didn't get struck. So how does he prove that it's unintentional? Just because, but you didn't see, there was a lot of people there. He's trying to say a lot didn't get struck, but a lot did. That's just, that line of questioning is so idiotic to me. And I'm sure y'all have heard him ask that a lot too. Would it be fair to say that the people over there weren't struck? Yeah. But, 20 others right near them were struck. That makes no sense to me.
After the incident, did you see any news reports about the incident?
I did.
Did any news reports that you saw jog anything to your memory?
Not especially. Maybe just showed different things that happened that evening in different parts of Main Street where I wasn't. But
So-
nothing changed my recollections of the South Band experience.
So it would be fair to say that what was reported on the news, you kind of pretty much already knew?
Correct.
Did you recall the news reporting how many people may have been hurt?
Yes.
From which you recall and observed, do you think that those said news reports were accurate? Grounds.
Sustained. It's not relevant.
About how long did you stay at the parade after the incident?
I did not have my watch with me that evening, but we were there for quite a while because the students had scattered, and so it took us a while, as well as waiting to make sure all the students that were injured were taken by first responders. And they were overwhelmed, so it took a while for first responders to get to everyone.
So it would be fair to say that by the time you actually left, it was nightfall.
That is correct.
Do you recall the power going out?
That did not happen till we were back at the high school.
So you had already left
Correct.
the parade route by the time there was no
These
power.
questions
Correct.
have nothing to do with
Do
nothing.
you recall what time you left?
I don't recall. It would be in the bus company records, but
You're done. You're done. Let's move on, please. And see, he wants to drag out everything as long as possible. No sense of urgency.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Just some brief clarification, and then I'd like to show one video, Your Honor, if that's all right. There were a few mentions during cross-examination about your report, in quotation marks.
yes.
You didn't actually sit down and type up a police report after the parade, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Or her ruled. She may answer. Please take your answer again.
I did not.
If there is an objection, let me rule
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. You met with police officers after the fact and provided interviews, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, do you know whether they wrote police reports summarizing those statements?
If they did, I did not see those.
Okay. I would like to play for you exhibit number 22 one more time. And I'd like to play it for the jury as well, Your Honor, if that's all right.
Objection, we saw this video numerous times at this point.
Are you going to play the whole thing? Or parts of it?
The witness was asked about whether she heard a horn honking.
Oh, I gotta say, to be fair, when she was talking about hearing things, she actually brought up the horn thing. I hate to say that, but it's true.
So I'm simply going to play.
Asked if she heard a horn. She was asked, did the sound of the parade?
I recall what was asked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, tell me again why you want the jury to see this, the question? Because she was not asked specifically about a horn. She offered something.
In response to a question about what she heard. I simply want to play this video to see if the witness can hear the sound of a horn honking.
Objection. What's the relevancy at this point? She never was asked the question, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. I don't have anything else for this witness. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
He probably was just doing that to play mind games with Brooks. There's always a method to their madness. To his madness, we have no clue.
Your next witness, please.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one roll. The next witness, he is a parade spectator. His name is Kyle Jewell, and he was located near the Waukesha South Band. So it'd be interesting to hear his testimony. So here we go.
Your Honor, the state calls Kyle Jewell.
Good afternoon, sir. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. First thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Kyle Jewell, Kyle Jewell.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Jewell.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Jewell, on the day of November 21, 2021, did you attend the Waukesha Christmas parade in downtown Waukesha?
Yes.
Did you come with friends and family members?
Yes, with family.
About how many people were in your group, sir?
Probably 7 or 9. I'd have to count them
That's
to really
okay.
get the accurate number.
Okay. And where did you set up along the parade route to watch the festivities?
Yeah, so we were right in between those new apartments and Olo Chocolate. I don't know what road it was next to.
Okay. And so you were right on Main Street, correct?
Yeah.
And new apartments are like 4 or 5 stories high, is that right?
Yep, right
Okay.
next to Olo Chocolate.
Okay, and on the north side of the road, that would be.
Correct.
Okay. As you were sitting there, what do you recall happening, sir?
Yeah, so we were watching the parade. I had a bunch of kids in front of us, my kids, some other family members, and at one point, we had I believe it was the Remax hot air balloon truck coming to the left of us, and then we start hearing just some people yelling, "Stop that car!" And the next thing you know, from my left, going down the road, you see a red SUV just go straight through the parade. And where we were sitting at that time was the Waukesha South Band, and just drove right through Waukesha South Band, and just continued going.
Did you see any people being struck by the SUV?
Yes.
Did you see any objects flying in the air?
I didn't see any objects flying in the air. I saw the red SUV going over people.
Okay, can you describe that for us, please?
Yeah, so the band had just passed us, red SUV going, again, this is just an estimate, maybe 30, 40 miles an hour, just went straight over the Waukesha South Band, and it's not like it stopped. I mean, it went over. I saw the red SUV, it looked like it went in the air, like over a pretty big object, and it just was like a big old speed bump and kept
Just
going.
going over people.
You saw that from your position on the side of the road?
Yes.
At some point, did you get up and leave your position?
I did. So when the red SUV had pretty much gone through the band, my reaction was to run after the car, and honestly was trying to get into it to stop it. That was just my perspective on
Okay.
it.
He was running
I did
after
not
it too.
Get into the SUV.
Were you able to catch it?
No. It drove off at a pretty quick speed after it went through the band.
And you were running on foot?
Correct.
Okay. Prior to the SUV hitting the students in the band, did you hear the horn on the vehicle honking at all?
I did not.
As the vehicle struck students in the band, did you ever see the vehicle stop?
I did not. It would have slowed down a little bit as it hit people, but it did not slow down when it hit the band and then when it drove off.
Okay. I'd like to put up exhibit number 25, please, for the witness.
I mean, the count really goes up to as to how many people were affected by this. I mean, obviously the band director, even though she wasn't injured, had to see all of her students get struck. And this fellow Kyle, I mean, they're not on the number of counts. Of course they're not, but he witnessed this. There are, how many people, saw this who are PTSD, are experiencing PTSD? Because I've noticed a number of times, and maybe we probably already come upon some videos, and maybe we'll come up on some more. But I know a lot of times he'll ask people, were you injured in any way? And those people will say, not physically, but he doesn't, I truly don't think his brain is wired like ours. Clearly, it's not wired like ours. He does not think about, what trauma these people experience seeing bodies being struck and maybe people and things flying in the air. And that always irritates the hell out of me when he goes, he just like, dismisses it kind of when they say, well, not physically. And in fact, that might be my next video. It just gave me an idea for my next video. Okay, so there was that.
And is there anything on your screen in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Is this 25? Okay. And you see the video that's showing on your screen in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Is this a video that you've seen before?
Yes, it is.
And do you believe this is a true and accurate representation of the events as you saw them on November 21 of 2021?
Yes.
Like to admit number 25 and permission to play it for the jury? Mr. Brooks?
Objection. Hearsay. How is everybody seeing the videos before seeing them now?
You can ask that on cross-exam, sir.
There you go.
But the
What difference does it
foundation
make?
has been laid, and Exhibit 25 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Oh, he's jealous because he didn't watch
Put
them.
it up, and then before we play anything, I'd ask if you could point out for the jury the approximate area where you and your family were stationed.
How do you want me to do that?
That's a touch screen in front of you. That's a good question.
Oh.
You can either circle or mark with an X, or there's a dot you can put there, whatever.
Yeah.
Just the general area where you were standing.
Somewhere over here.
Okay. And you remember seeing the parade approaching then from your left?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the band, excuse me.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and play this with volume, please.
So he had pretty much had a front row seat to this.
Pause. Okay, we paused at the 41-second mark. When do you first recall seeing that red SUV? Was it about this point or was it back further?
Pretty much right when it rounded the Remax van.
Okay. And then do you remember seeing it come around the left side of the Remax van and then veer to the right in front of the Remax van?
Yes.
And now it's headed in the direction of where you and your family are?
Correct.
Do you remember that, sir?
Yes.
What were you thinking during this?
Really what's going on. Normally you don't see a vehicle going that quick down a parade route.
Okay. Go ahead and continue playing, please.
Oh my God. He can look at that over and over again and it doesn't affect him a bit.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, we're gonna play it again a little bit slower, and I want you to point out the point where you yourself get up and run after the red SUV, okay?
Okay.
Before you have him do that, for the record, how long is this video?
Thank you, Judge. The video is exactly 1 minute in duration.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So play it at half speed, please. No sound, because with half speed, the sound is annoying.
Having no idea what's getting ready to happen. That's so surreal. this is making me feel anxious, guys. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, look. He has his headlights on. Gosh. Oh my goodness.
You can pause it right there.
Okay, we're paused at the 48-second mark. You see yourself, sir?
I do.
Where are you?
You want me to circle
Circle it. You've just run out into the middle of the street, is that right? Or towards the middle of the street?
it? Yes.
Where were you going?
Chasing after the car.
What were you going to do if you caught it?
Want to stop it.
Try and stop it.
Yep.
All these people, their
You
instinct.
described on your direct testimony the seeing the car look like it was going over speed bumps, is that right?
Yes.
Is that what's shown in this exhibit number 25?
Yes.
In fact, it was going over people, not speed bumps.
Correct. Yes.
Keep playing, I want to see where you go. And we played it to the end just for the record. You never were able to catch up,
No.
but towards the end of that video, you're off screen. We can't see you anymore.
Yes.
About how far down did you chase that SUV, sir?
It had to have been pretty far down the road. I don't have an exact that I can remember, but I ran for a pretty good amount of time. It wasn't quite to the 5 corners,
Okay.
but it was a pretty good distance.
And any point along the way, did you notice the SUV stop?
I did not know.
I just had a thought, very random here. But could you imagine if all of the people that chased after Brooks and his vehicle, or Mama Don's vehicle, if all the people were at the same place at the same time, and they ran and they caught up with his vehicle and stopped it and surrounded the vehicle, could you just imagine? What do you think would happen then? One can dream, I guess, huh?
Did you see the driver of the SUV get out and check on any of the people that he had just run over?
No.
Did you get a good look at the driver?
I didn't get a good look at the driver, no.
Okay.
That I can remember.
Sure. After you chased the SUV but were not able to catch it, did you make your way back towards your family?
I did.
Did you encounter injured people along the way?
Yes, many of them.
And were they mostly from the school band or others?
Mainly from the South's band.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions, sir.
Here we
Thank you,
go.
Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Do you
Let's look at our report and see if we can
recall
get
being interviewed by a Detective Carpenter on November 24th of 2021?
I do remember being interviewed by a detective, yes.
Any idea why it took a few days for you to be interviewed?
Just the nature of the incident. I'm sure they had a lot to get through. So I just wanted to wait a little bit, and it wasn't something that I was going to do. Yeah.
When you say it wasn't something that you was going to do, what are you referring to?
Just seek some counsel from some mentors. After talking with them, they had advised that I should make a statement.
So
Good for
it would
you.
be fair to say that you didn't intend on making a report.
That is correct.
Can you explain why?
Just didn't feel comfortable with it.
Would it be fair to say that the events that you witnessed would make anyone want to make a report? Would that be fair to say?
Let's think about this for a moment. Isn't that the stupidest thing for him to ask? I mean, since he is the defendant, and he's chastising this spectator for almost not reporting it. Wouldn't it be fair to say that you'd want to report something of whatever the hell he said? But that's like, what are you wanting? It's just like he's inviting people to just, here, come on, identify me. That doesn't make any sense to me. But that's not surprising.
Yes.
But he did report it, so I would leave that alone.
Do you recall about what time you arrived at the parade?
I do not.
Do you recall what time you left?
I do not.
You stated earlier that you were with family. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you or any of your family members injured in the incident?
No.
I'm looking at the
Here we go, the report.
report here.
Yep.
You did state that you didn't get a description of the driver, correct?
Yes.
Did you get a license plate number?
I did not.
Do you recall if there was any tint on the vehicle that you saw?
Not in the front, no.
What do you mean by not in the front?
I did not see any tint on the front windows or the passenger side window. From what I could remember, there was tint on the back windows.
So it would be fair to say that you couldn't see into the back of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall how many occupants were in the vehicle?
Yes.
Even though you couldn't see the entire inside of the vehicle?
Yes.
Stand your ground, Kyle. Good for you.
Do you recall saying in your report that, or saying in the report that was reported by Detective Carpenter, that, well, I'm going to read it what it says. He indicated that after the vehicle struck the south band, he chased it and got to within approximately an arm's reach of the vehicle. Do you recall that?
I do not.
Any reason why that would be reported?
A lot happening at that moment during that whole incident. It very well just could have been what I had thought. And it does go out of frame, so I can't exactly remember what happens once the video and myself goes out of frame.
Do you recall being an arm's length from the vehicle?
I cannot remember right now, no.
They were traumatized. They're not going to remember everything.
At what point did you see the vehicle slow down?
As it went over Waukesha South Band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
And what did the vehicle do after that?
It sped up.
Do you recall describing the acceleration as rapid?
Yes.
Would you say that the video that we just saw depicts a rapid acceleration?
Yes.
Yeah. What now?
Do you recall stating that it seems as if the driver of the vehicle was hitting the gas as hard as he could?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you be able to tell that?
The nature of a vehicle going over people, you would think that the gas pedal would not be pushed as you're going over people. And as the car continued, the red SUV continued over, went over the Waukesha South Band and continued to accelerate, I could only imagine that the gas pedal was being pushed very hard after just going over people.
So you were making an assumption. Would that be fair to say?
No.
I wouldn't say it was an assumption, just from driving a vehicle, knowing what happens when you go over a large object, it typically slows the car down. In order to speed it back up, the only thing that you can do is hit the gas pedal.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit the gas pedal, or would you hit the gas pedal as hard as you could?
Oh, for
From
gosh.
what I remembered, it looked like the gas pedal was being hit hard.
I'm
The
sure it
vehicle
was.
accelerated very quickly.
That's right.
Would it be fair to say that you would have to be present in the vehicle to tell if the gas pedal was pushed
Not necessarily.
hard, extremely hard, as you said, or as hard as
Tell him, that's right. Stick to you. Mm-hmm.
No.
you would be able to tell that from
You already-
an outside observation?
Yes.
Yes.
He already saw you run over a bunch of people. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to prove now. It's so stupid.
Did you observe the route of the vehicle after what the video shows? You kind of go off the screen. And did you observe where the vehicle went at that point?
Yes.
Did it continue straight, or did it turn?
Continue down the parade route.
You
Do
can
you
tell.
recall about how far?
No.
You can tell this affected him. Of course it did. He probably hesitated to come in because he didn't want to have to go through this. But I'm glad that he
Do you
came.
recall seeing any brake lights?
No.
Even when it briefly slowed down?
That would be correct.
Keep asking, Brooks. You're just giving a
So would it
good...
be fair to say that in order to slow a vehicle down, you have to brake?
Not necessarily.
And what is the necessarily?
Your stupid
Hitting
eyebrows.
something or going over something naturally will slow a vehicle down.
Take your
So
foot
how
off.
far would you estimate that the vehicle was traveling before it slowed down?
I can't remember that.
Can you pull up Exhibit 25 again? For the witness.
Go ahead. Do you want it to the jury or just to the witness?
To everybody.
Okay,
Publish.
there you go.
Is the sound in?
You want to play it all the way through?
Can you play it from about
Interrupted her. How rude.
30 seconds?
Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Counter reads 29 seconds at this point, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Well, roughly around that area. Pause right there. From your perspective, is the sound that you just heard, could that have been a horn?
Oh, for gosh sake.
Could we replay it?
Replay it.
Are you able to answer just based on what you heard?
No.
He didn't hear it.
You did state that you didn't hear any horn, correct?
Correct.
It would be fair to say that it was pretty loud at that point in the parade, correct?
Yeah.
Do you think the noise would have impaired your hearing in any way at that point in time?
No.
So would it be fair to say
Stand
that you
your
would have been
ground.
able to hear anything coming towards your area where you were sitting, or anything that was coming towards your area from the band, from the parade, rather?
I don't understand your question.
Yeah, really.
Would you have heard if there was anything unusually loud or just loud enough? Would you have heard it from where you were seated at?
I don't know how to answer that.
You didn't hear it though, and you still ran over people. What difference does it make?
Is it possible that a horn could have been beat that you didn't hear?
No.
Objection.
Horns are pretty loud. It would have been heard.
Even over all the noise of the parade and the band and the
Enough.
people and
Objection. Asked
you
and
been
answered.
able to clearly hear?
Why is nobody objecting? You still ran over people. You're a terrible lawyer.
Do you recall what you saw the driver doing at the time that it passed the area that you were seated at?
Driving the car.
Yeah.
Did you observe any other actions by the driver?
No. Just focused on the road that was ahead of him.
Yeah, just like everyone else said. Focused on your targets.
And there's nothing about the description that stood out to you or caught your eye that maybe you could recall?
In regards to what?
The description of the driver.
You really wanted to describe you?
I could tell there was one person in the car. I could see it. They were wearing some sort of hat or sweatshirt. That was about it.
And after the vehicle passed where you were seated at, about how long did you stay at the parade after what you saw?
I wouldn't be able to remember that.
Did you attempt to help anyone injured or check for your family here?
At that point, when I started running back, there were a lot of bodies on the ground. And from the looks of it, there was already people helping them. So my next reaction was to get back to my family.
So with all the people that appeared to be injured, you didn't stop to...
Oh, stop it. Why does he do this? He chastises people. He acts, we already know this, I know. It's so redundant, but he acts like they're the one on trial. He's such a hideous human being.
render any aid to any one of them?
Objection, argumentative, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sister,
Grounds.
next question.
Gosh, I
please.
yelled it pretty loud. Sorry, guys. I got a little carried away there. It's a dumb question. He didn't answer things the way you wanted
Was there
to.
anything else about the vehicle that stuck out to you?
No.
You're running out
Did you
of...
see any news reports about the incident once you got your family home?
I did not.
Why not?
Did you hear about it in the days after? Did you hear about anything related to the event in the days after? Leading up to your November 24th interview with Detective Carpenter?
I'm sure I had saw general things. We really did not watch the TV too much. There was just a lot of emotional stuff that we were just working through.
So it'd be fair to say you purposely didn't watch news reports
Yes.
that were related to the incident?
Yes. Does that make you
we didn't
happy?
really watch news to begin with, but this just kind of made that
It's
a
like
little
it
bit
makes
more
him happy.
that we didn't turn the TV on, so we did not watch much news.
So at any time, did you see any mug shot or any type of pictures related to this suspected driver?
Wow. Why do you want to bring that up?
I did not know.
That makes no sense to me. Somebody tell me.
At any time, do you recall hearing
Make sense
the
of it.
name of the alleged
Good
defendant
Lord.
or suspect?
At some point in time, yes, I did hear the name.
Was that really quickly after the incident, or had it been some time that passed
Oh
before
my
you
gosh.
heard that?
There was a little bit of time that had passed before I heard it.
And you yourself didn't file a claim in this matter, did you?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds.
If you can be a little more specific, if you mean a claim related to any, related to the parade.
Did you make a claim of being an injured party, or did anybody in your family make a claim of being an injured party?
No.
Trust me, they were injured though.
You made reference to seeing it, the Exhibit 25 video before your testimony today, correct?
Could you say that again?
You made reference earlier that you had saw the video that was shown before you testified today, correct?
Yes.
About how many times have you saw the video before today?
Once.
It's probably enough.
So today was your second time seeing the same video.
Mhm.
Correct.
Is there anything that brought back or helped you recall anything that you may have missed when you did your initial report?
Do you want him to recall?
Seeing the video for a second time?
Do you want
Could
him
you
to
ask that once more?
Yeah, really.
Seeing the video just now for the second time, did it bring back any memory that you may have not reported before, or did it bring back something that you may have missed, overlooked?
Not that I know of or remember, no.
Good Lord.
Were you aware that you might be called to testify in this matter?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
So it'd be fair to say that you were anticipating being a witness?
No.
Whom were you contacted by about being a witness in this matter?
I wouldn't know the Waukesha district attorney.
Let the record reflect
Oh,
that
here he
the
loves
witness made a
this.
hand gesture towards the prosecution table.
Yes.
The
Oh,
record will so reflect. Thank you.
that made it all worthwhile that he was able to say, make a record that they pointed out the prosecution.
So it
He
would
said
be
prostitution.
fair to say that you were
Prosecution.
contacted about testifying in this matter directly from the Waukesha district attorney's office?
Yes.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter here?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Not relevant, sustained.
It really
Next
is not.
question.
Look at his eyes. You can tell he's exhausted and stressed.
Are you aware of any injured party or plaintiff in this matter?
I am not.
You are not?
That's correct.
Brooks, he has some pretty capable arms. He could probably lay you out.
Have you read or seen any complaint besides your own in this matter?
You mean a statement or do you mean a criminal complaint?
A complaint, any complaint.
Object to vagueness and relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
I could complain he's irritating as hell.
You can try to rephrase it if you would like. I'm
God.
sustaining it as
Okay,
to
you know
one
what?
question, sir.
I will have
you
to say,
seen any other
hang on.
statements by any parties other than yourself in relation to this incident?
No.
Are you the only person present from your family that made a statement or a report?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds. His
Overruled.
family was there.
Overruled. He may answer if anyone else in his family provided a statement.
No, they did not.
You stated earlier that it was difficult. Well, you stated that you don't really watch the news to begin with, but the incident made it more difficult to do that, correct?
You just rub it in.
A little bit, yes.
Rub some salt on the open
Would
wound.
that be said of your family as well?
Yes.
So there was some type of impact
In regards to what?
in regards to being present at the parade.
Yes, there was a huge emotional impact on our family.
Do you know of any reason why no one besides yourself
My God.
made a report?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Seriously.
Sustained.
Grounds.
That's enough.
Discussion.
Leave him alone.
So as far as you know, you've never seen or interacted with the plaintiff in this matter.
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. Under 90611, new topic, please. One not already covered.
Do you recall
Oh my gosh.
the motion of the vehicle as it passed where you were seated?
What?
Withdraw the objection, he clarified at what location he was referring to.
Thank you.
Oh, we said location.
In regards to what motion?
How the vehicle was moving, driving?
Motion.
Where I was sitting, it would have been my left side, and the car was approaching from my left side, driving. I don't know north, south, east, all that stuff, but red SUV on my left proceeded to go through on my right down Main Street.
From where you were seated, were you seated to where there were people standing in front of where you were seated?
Yes, my family.
Anybody else besides your family?
Nope, just my family.
This
It would
poor
be fair
man.
to say from the video that there were quite a few people standing in the general area where you were seated at. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, most of the people in front of me were kids, so they were littler than me.
Did you observe any one of those kids being struck?
Oh my gosh.
No.
So it would be fair to say that the vehicle did not strike anybody that was seated on the curb right there where you were at.
Specifically right where I was at, no.
Wow. Ugh. I gotta tell you, I'm getting, oh my gosh, I'm so worked up. What does that do? Does that cancel out all the other people he ran over? He is literally just torturing this man. It is so irritating. And I will say something else too while we're just stopped here for a minute. I know, I think it was maybe not the last video I put up, but maybe the one before that. There was some discussion with you all, and I didn't comment, but I was going to comment, and then I didn't. For some reason, sometimes I get distracted, and I was going to respond, but I know a few of you had said something about how people felt about Judge Darrell, and I'll admit, I think overall she was a good judge. I appreciate the fact that she was meticulous in her record keeping, wanted to prevent a mistrial, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, but I will say after watching this, I feel like that she helped Brooks way too much. I felt like she gave him more leeway than most people would have. Again, I'm not an expert, but what kind of helped me with this thought process was to watch somebody who has had experience with law, and maybe y'all have seen her. She's probably, most of you have. I love her. Emily D. Baker. And I got very involved in watching a lot of the trial that she covered. And she is definitely a commenter. You think I talk over things, man, she will go, no, don't do it. And all the time she's saying, like when Brooks and Judge Darrell argue, she's saying that she argues too much. And I have to agree with that. Instead of just saying like, okay, you're done. You're going to the next room. Give him a warning. Give him 2 warnings. But she gives him like 20 warnings. So I am definitely with you all who have commented on. I don't have complete criticism of Judge Darrell, because I did love the compassion she had for the victims, and she gave a good, when she sentenced Brooks, she let him have it free well. And I do love her compassion for the community and all that. But I will say, I feel like, because based on what Emily D. Baker was saying, she could have put him in the room a lot more. She could have, said, okay, I'm asking you twice. And then he could have just forfeited his right. Instead of the back and forth, it would have perhaps made the trial a little bit shorter. I do agree with that. So I do get frustrated with her over those things. So I am with you all on that. So, and I know it's one of my regulars here, and I can't think of who said it, but I know you were saying you might get some backlash on it, but you're not getting it from me, girlfriend, because I'm with you on it. It's just like, look at this poor man. It's like, I know he has the right to question the witnesses. I guess you can't put a time frame on that. Unless he, goes too far and there's too many to say. I was almost going to say substains. But yeah, I was like, come on. It did seem like she helped him a lot. But like I said, Emily D. Baker will say, she'll go, sir, you're a lawyer. And, she said not to don't give him any answers. And so I did feel like maybe she helped him a bit much. And, I didn't like that, because I'm just looking at this guy. I guess I don't know. Just let the man go, for the love of God, please. Please, please, please. Okay, there we go. I just want to insert that because I remember that there was discussion about that in the video, in the messages. Okay, here we go. Let's please pray. Look at that. You can see the strain in his eyes, and his kid. He probably has young kids. He looks pretty young. They're probably having nightmares. He's probably having nightmares, and he wants to try to think. Just oops. Here we go. Because not everyone got hit. It's supposed to be okay. No, there's nothing okay about that. That's insane.
In your opinion,
Oh, God.
after observing people struck, in your opinion, how did the vehicle miss the people that were seated directly in front of you?
Objection beyond
Grounds.
Oh, my gosh.
beyond scope of
Grounds.
knowledge and
That is-
irrelevant.
Grounds.
Mr. Brooks, let her state her objection without interruption. The objection is sustained. Next question.
That's torture right there. She should stop it right now. Just stop it. Could she
So
not
would
just...
it be fair to say that the only people you observed being struck
Only?
was the
Oh, God.
Waukesha South Band?
I can't, guys. I can't. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The only people.
Approximately how many people would you say, by estimate?
I can't, guys.
Right now, I can't remember. It would be a handful.
Would it be fair to say that there were hundreds, even thousands of people present for the parade?
Okay, I'm sorry. I know. I'm stopping, but can I just go? Ah! This is... Can she not stop it now? Or, when he kept asking, though, she could have said under... I know, I can't even think of it. I should have it memorized, but... ask something relevant or where I'm going to stop this questioning. Could she not do that? She did. Okay. Okay, I just had a mini meltdown. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
And you have only observed a handful of people struck?
Waukesha South band is a pretty large band.
Yes.
And the red SUV went right through it.
You went right through
If I
them.
had to estimate 10, maybe 15, I wouldn't know the exact number that were struck by the SUV.
Would it be fair to say that number is fairly low to all
What?
the people that was in the area at the
What?
time?
Objection argumentative,
That's-
Your Honor.
Grounds.
Stop it.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Stop it, Judge.
Mr. Brooks.
Stop
Next
it.
question.
Would it, next question or rephrase?
No, don't rephrase.
Well, I sustained it. You can ask your next question.
Please don't ask any more about how many people weren't hit. I'm getting very salty here. I didn't know he was going to keep this fellow here for this long. This is horrible. Torment.
Would you identify yourself as an injured party in this matter?
Objection asked and answered.
Grounds.
Sustained.
That's right. Just stop.
Would you identify as an injured party in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Asked and
I'm
answered.
telling you, he's got ample arms. He could lay you out, Brooks. This poor guy. Bless his heart.
Mr. Brooks, under 90611. That
Just-
was also not a question I would allow to be asked. Please move on.
Please stop it. He is truly a
No further
monster.
questions.
May I redirect?
Just very briefly, I'm going to ask the clerk to please turn the monitors back on, Exhibit 25.
Come on, get him up.
Mr. Brooks had previously asked this to be paused. It's paused at the 37-second mark. And I
do not recognize that thing, nor do I
Shut
consent
up.
to being qualified.
We don't care.
Your objections noted. Go ahead, Attorney Opper.
I'm going to ask Ms. Gussie to please continue playing it starting at the 37-second mark. And then I'm going to ask you to pause it.
What is the relevancy of it being played from the 37-second mark?
Your objections noted. It's overruled. Was that with or without sound?
With sound is fine. Yes, please, sound.
Go ahead.
Get him up.
Pause. We're stopped at the 42-second mark. Mr. Jewell, at this point, would you say the SUV is very close to you and your family?
Yes.
At this
Sorry.
point, did you hear the SUV honking its horn in any manner?
No.
Would you say the SUV is very close to the vehicle in the middle of the road containing the Waukesha South mascot?
Yes.
Would you also say it's very close to the two people standing in the street, one wearing a Santa hat and the other, I think, is dressed like a lion or some type of character?
Yes.
Did you hear the horn honking at this location, sir?
No.
The band has already passed you to your right down the street, correct?
Yes.
Was there any music being played from the Remax
No.
vehicle that you recall?
Not that I remember, no.
Just the hot air balloon?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions, and I'm stopping it at the 42-second mark, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, you may step down.
Vada boom. I'm sorry, my power is getting dark. My power is getting ready to be no more. So I'll make this quick. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting, subscribing. Yes, I got a little bit upset, but he just does that to us, doesn't he? But I appreciate you all watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you all. Be kind to one another. Be kind to you. And I'll see you the next time.